Bit of a nervous smile there, Neil. Twins. On top of these two. But you were the one who didn't want the...
How does that gobshite get on the television?
It's Breaking the News with Des Clark.
I am Des Clark and this is Breaking the News, the show that breaks the week's news and asks four opinionated panellists to put it back together again. And joining me this week is comedian Fred Macaulay, and with him stand-up Maisie Adam. And facing off against them is comedian Zoe Lyons, and joining her is stand-up Gareth Waugh. In the news this week, Scotland's youngest pupils returned to school for the first time since Christmas. I was so excited I ran around the playground screaming and then had to have a nap, said one parent. A 105-year-old woman from New Jersey has beaten COVID and says it's all thanks to gin-soaked raisins. Her fellow care home residents are thrilled at her recovery, though understandably insulted at her description of them. And Irvin Welsh has said work needs to start on a Trainspotting 3 film before the cast all become OAPs. And he may have a point, as even Danny Boyle would struggle to find the gritty drama in a plotline that involves Renton, Sick Boy and Begbie queuing up to get the second dose of their vaccine. There we go, you've met the panel. Let's crack on with round one. And this is the Broken News round, where our teams have to guess two major stories of the week that have been mashed together into one single news headline. So Fred and Maisie, can you tell me your first story, please?
The American Space Agency has released
its route map out of lockdown.
NASA
Said that from the 26th of April, the government would expect to see hairdressers
on Mars.
Yesterday, the First Minister
Was slowly lowered to the surface by a rocket backpack.
Maisie, any thoughts as to what our first story might be?
We're supposed to all be coming out of lockdown, maybe, possibly, somehow in the nearish future, providing we all have this weird optimistic nervousness to carry us through.
Yeah, it's the news that there might be an end in sight as the UK and Scottish governments announced their roadmaps out of lockdown. So on Monday, we had Prime Minister Boris Johnson announcing that shops, hairdressers, gyms and outdoor hospitality in England could reopen on the 12th of April. Meanwhile, First Minister in Scotland, Nicola Sturgeon, gave what she described as a deliberately cautious framework, refusing to give an end date and saying that if she did so, she would be making it up. So gyms and pubs could reopen on the same day, leaving people with that difficult decision to make. Which pub should we go to? It's a tough old time. So, Maisie, obviously a lot of this is ifs, buts and maybes, but generally, are you happy with the plans?
The first big thing we apparently have got to look forward to in England, I don't think this applies to Scotland, but in England, on the 8th of March, two people can have a coffee on a bench.
Wow.
Eh? Dream big, dream big. Two people can have a coffee on a bench, because apparently all our social interactions are like a scene from a 90s Richard Curtis rom-com.
Fred, what do you think about it? Obviously, we've got plans from Scotland, from Westminster. Cautiously optimistic, but are you happy with what you're hearing?
Well, Des, England were given a roadmap to freedom. We got a skid mark to nowhere. Miss Sturgeon said she didn't want to give us false clarity, which I didn't know was a thing until this week.
False clarity sounds like a Eurovision entry, doesn't it, from like Iceland?
They've said, haven't they, that they're going to sort of suggest that there's a bank holiday on the 21st of June, which seems entirely pointless because, I mean, I've already phoned sick for the stuff that I've got planned, which was absolutely sod all anyway. Maisie and I both live in Brighton. We know it's going to be carnage. My plan is to just go to the end of the pier, saw it off and try and paddle to France.
I've seen online this week comedians from south of the border who are putting up their gig dates for after June. Oh. And all that Gareth and I can do, we could go to school and do a standard grade woodwork. That's what we've got to look forward to, you know?
What are you most looking forward to when things get back to some sort of normal? Gareth?
Probably a haircut. Like, I am just covered in hair. I'm kind of about just now looking like a Muppet that they've introduced to Sesame Street to teach kids about anxiety.
What about you, Zoe? When this is all done and we get out and about, what are you most looking forward to?
You don't realise you miss a zoo until somebody mentions zoos, and you go, God, I haven't been to a zoo in years. I can't wait to go back to the zoo. I really miss the zoos. Now that I don't.
You're having this epiphany about zoos.
I was just surprised to see them on the list, and I went, oh yeah, zoos. Oh yeah, I must do that again when I go out. I love a penguin. Yeah.
Joey, I've found a walk near Mines where you can go round the back of Edinburgh Zoo, and you can see the zebras sometimes. So I took my dog up there, and he saw it. He thought it was a horse that plays for Dunfermline.
What do you think our second story is?
This is all about the mission to Mars.
It certainly is. Are you excited about it?
Nah. I'm not.
No, what's your problem? What's going on?
I don't like the wee motor. I don't like the wee car. It costs $2.5 billion, right? I want it to look a bit cooler. There's no sunroof. There's no spinning rims. For that money, I want to see some lights underneath it. What it all boils down to is I'm basically just jealous that a car's got to go on holiday before me.
It is the news that NASA has released videos of its Perseverance rover landing on Mars just to annoy Gareth. The footage covers the final minutes of last week's descent up to the point where the robot's wheels make contact with the ground. NASA also released the first ever audio recordings of the sounds of Mars. In case you're wondering what it sounds like, here it is. Well,
That's the same noise I get when I phone my agent.
I always worry when humans explore a new place. It's like when Thailand became very popular with tourists in the 80s. You just know, people would come back and go, it's amazing, it really is, it's so untouched. And you just know, within about 10 years, Mars will look like Tenerife. There'll be a sort of an Irish theme bar, bingo and fish and chips. And it's just, you have to worry for Mars and the impact that we're going to have on its surface.
I think I'm probably the only one that can remember the moon landings in the 60s when, when you look at the quality of the video of Perseverance landing and compare that with what we got back from the moon, which in those days, I think Buzz Aldrin had to send the film off to Boots and got the film back in 2 weeks. And it's, Neil, you've got your thumb over the lens, man. This is ridiculous. You've left the lens cap on. This is terrible. But if and when we do go to Mars, eat where the locals eat.
Yeah.
Gareth, I'll ask you this question quickly. Would you go to Mars if the opportunity presented itself?
Right now, probably not. But once it gets some of the changes that Zoe suggested, then aye, maybe. But
Once it's got a Lineker's.
Yeah. There's a Weatherspoons. Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah.
But no, there's no way that I'm going to Mars. The flight is 7 months. Right? 7 months for the flight, which is roughly how long the flight from Prestwick to Ibiza feels. But
but Gareth, the thing is, if it is like a low-budget flight, they'll land in Venus and call it Mars West. Maisie, what about you? If it came to it, you had to explain Earth to an alien, what would you be saying?
Well, I moved house during this pandemic, so I've become very used to how you can basically polish the turd when it comes to describing an area. Because I was looking around a lot of places that were described as lively, and said things like ideal for someone looking for a challenge. So I think I could get an alien interested in a local property near here.
And when they describe the area as vibrant, walk away.
Oh, vibrant and lively, I've learned, are very big red flags. Very big. Vibrant and lively means walk home with your keys between your knuckles.
How would you describe Earth to an alien? Gareth?
Well, I think it would be quite difficult, wouldn't it, because of the language barrier? Like, they'd be all like, we come in peace, which in Scotland sounds like they arrived via sandwich.
Fred, how would you do it? If aliens landed, how would you explain Earth to an alien from another planet?
I would tell them that they're very welcome. We've been looking forward to them arriving. And if they want a wee tip while they're here, Eat where the locals eat, which is the Blue Lagoon chip shop outside Central Station.
Yeah, well done, Zoe and Gareth. You get 2 points for that. It was the mashup of the roadmap out of lockdown and NASA's videos from Mars. And at the end of that round, the teams are on 2 points apiece. Now, so much of our news is about public opinion, and this week we spoke to Holmes Under the Hammer presenter Martel Maxwell and actor and musician Tom Ury. So, Zoe and Gareth, what story do you think Martel is on about here?
It feels like we're creating the end of it all. I am worried about it. It's kind of already too late. It's ironic that the world leaders are coming to Glasgow to talk about the planet heating up, because in November in Glasgow, there'll be Baltic.
It sounds a little bit like climate change.
There is the news that Sir David Attenborough has issued a grim warning to world leaders on climate change, saying it's already too late. David Attenborough was speaking at the first UN Security Council meeting on climate and security ahead of the COP26 climate summit, which is going to be held in Glasgow this November. And they're saying it could be our last chance. Gareth, what do you make of it? Do you think this is it, the last saloon for the climate?
Oh, well, I don't know. I've been trying to do little bits to help, like me and my girlfriend, we did veganuary to try and reduce our meat intake and reduce our carbon footprint. But we had a little rule, right, where you can have meat, like if you're out and about, so like if you're out at work or something like that. But that just meant I kept like sneaking off for errands and getting a McDonald's. It felt quite salacious, you know. And there was I came home with ketchup on me, and she was like, "You've had a burger, haven't you?" And I was like, "Oh, no, this is lipstick. I'm cheating on you."
197 countries, I think, have signed up to COP26. Can I just say to the 197 countries, if you are coming to Glasgow, eat where the locals eat.
Maisie, on this one, we're talking about climate change, obviously, and what Sir David Attenborough's saying. It's worrying stuff. Do you think this is our last chance?
Yeah, 100%. I just worry that actually, because it comes from David Attenborough, we're not taking it that seriously, because everything David Attenborough says, you automatically have the response of, "Oh, he's so sweet." We need to give it to somebody who's aggressive. We need Gordon Ramsay screaming at us, going, "You've ruined it! You've ruined it! The planet's raw!" Judge Judy, get her on. Judge Judy telling us off. Somebody that's actually going to make us go, "Oh, I'm really, really sorry."
It's weird. I agree with you, actually. I think, like, David Attenborough is special. If you saw any other 94-year-old man whispering and crawling about the bushes, you'd call the police.
Oh, exactly. I mean, there's definitely something to be said as well of David Attenborough. There was one the other day, and it was showing him. He was showing footage of when he was there in the 50s. Looking at orangutans, and then he'd come back 60 years later just to show you that there weren't as many orangutans. And I thought, well, it's probably down to you going there over 50 years, taking planes and planes to all these places, and then you go, "Oh, there's no orangutans left here anymore." It's you, David, and your carbon footprint.
What do you think, Zoe, that the world leaders are going to make of Glasgow?
They'll probably stand around for hours going, "Why does that statue have a traffic cone on its head? What does it signify? Is it a message from the locals?"
Fred, what about yourself? What plan do you have that might fix the planet?
Sack the management and bring in a German. It worked at Liverpool, is working at Chelsea. It's got to work for the planet.
Didn't it work when we tried it for the Scotland national team, Fred? You might remember.
Bertie Vogts.
Remember him well.
Many players, one goal, which was a great summary of his career as Scotland manager.
Now to you, Fred and Maisie, what do you think Tom is talking about here?
Times have changed. Of course, there is the odd thing that will slip through that doesn't sit well with today's attitudes. I do think it's necessary for there to be an indication that there might be something dodgy.
Hiya! Did you know that George the janitor is so cheap his wallet has an unlisted pocket?
If I'm not mistaken, there was a bit of a hoo-ha about some of the episodes of The Muppets that were going to have to either be edited or they were going to have to be just explained that or put in context. Is that right?
Disney Plus has added a content warning to the beginning of 18 episodes of The Muppet Show. The disclaimer has been added to each of the episodes for different reasons, including one which I wasn't aware of, where Johnny Cash sings in front of the Confederate flag. Well, I'm confused. Firstly, I thought Disney Plus was for people that were too big to fit into the normal Disney.
Which is everyone.
Do you think we should have a warning before the show The Muppets?
It's not just the Muppets, there's the whole Disney genre. And so I took the liberty, Des, of just picking one to have a look at. And it's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. We've got Doc, who was struck off the medical register. We don't know why, but he's now working down a mine, so it's pretty suspicious. And I think basically what I've managed to find out is that he's the supplier of drugs to the other six.
Maisie, what are you thinking? Should the Muppets come with a warning?
I think it's better for Kermit to educate us all, who is neither black, white or any other race, than say what I had, which was my white primary school teacher who just used to say things like, I don't see colour, let's just all play together, and don't forget, fancy dress day on Friday, I'm coming as a red Indian. Like, maybe...
When I first heard this story, I genuinely thought, have the French kicked off about the frog? I didn't know what it was that they were getting angry about. I think they've done the right thing in highlighting it rather than deleting it completely, which is, which is a far better thing to do. To say, look, this was a family show back in the day. This was what was deemed acceptable. We have changed. Society has changed. What is acceptable has changed. But let's enjoy the brilliant bits of what the Muppet Show was. I mean, my mum used to call me Gonzo all the time. I've got a big hooter. Even as a child, it was disproportionate. And in my family, I was known as Gonzo. So
Oh no.
Gareth, what about yourself in this one? I don't know if you're a fan of the Muppets, but do you think showing them now should come with a warning?
Do you know what? I think they've done the right thing. And if any TV show that revolves around an annoying fictional pig should be cancelled, then it's got to be Peppa Pig, right? I don't know if you've watched Peppa Pig much, but she is the absolute worst. I seen her the other day. She told her dad that he was too fat to jump off a diving board, and I went straight down to the shops and bought some bacon.
Obviously, the Muppets from a different time, different generation. But if you were going to bring back something from the 1970s...
Dead easy. I would bring back Are You Being Served? But I would remove stereotypes and innuendo. So it'd just be a big, open, empty shop.
Zoe, what about you? If you were going to bring back something from the 1970s, what would it be?
Terry toweling. Most of my terry toweling tops had collars on them that were so big that if I picked up enough speed on a slight decline, I could actually get air.
I saw a TikTok the other day that was like celebrities you didn't know who collected vinyl, and it was done by this like 16-year-old lad, and one of them was Jimi Hendrix. It wasn't that was a cool thing for Jimi. That was just the music format at the time. That was how music. Jimi Hendrix wasn't there like, I'm going to bring vinyl back because it's a little bit hipster. That was just music back then.
Well done on getting the Muppets right. That is the correct answer. They've also had to put warnings on Sesame Street about the count after Donald Trump claimed it was illegal. There we go. There we go. The warnings added to the Muppet Show is the correct answer. And 2 points go to Fred and Maisie. You're tuned to a socially distant Breaking the News on BBC Radio Scotland with me, Des Clark. Now, this round is all about who's in the news, so I will play you a clip of a mystery person. All you have to do is tell me who it is. So, Fred and Maisie, you're first this time. Who is this?
I've got the remaining harvest from my garden delivered by my fellow gardener, otherwise known as a 42nd president.
Could it be Hillary Clinton?
Yeah, it's Hillary Clinton. The former US presidency hopeful has written her debut novel. It's a political thriller called State of Terror. It will see a female novice Secretary of State begin working for the president who was once her rival, and the book is due to be released in October. Do you think this is a good career move for her?
I don't mind what she's doing as long as it's not erotica, because the last 2 years have been stressful enough. The last thing we need now is Hillary Clinton doing a 50 Shades of Grey type thing. So I'm quite happy to let her crack on, really. I have to say, though, I wouldn't have her down for this sort of thrilling novel. I would have had Hillary Clinton down for more of a Carrie from Sex and the City style novel, you know, like a diary, a sort of, and as I wandered through the House of Representatives in my Givenchy trouser suit, I realised not only did I need to delete my emails, I needed to delete Bill. That kind of thing.
I see that it's in partnership with author Louise Penny, and that's the kind of gig I'm hoping to pick up, where I write a novel in partnership with Val McDermid, in partnership with Ian Rankin. I think I'm cut out for that kind of thing.
It isn't unusual for presidential books to be written with help. Obviously, as we mentioned, Hillary's book was mostly written by Louise Penny, Bill's by James Patterson, and Melania's is ghostwritten by Michelle Obama. It all works out one way or another.
I mean, it's not her first book. I mean, she brought out, after the 2016 defeat, her book, What Happened? And I can't read the title of that book without sort of putting it like going, what happened? That's it.
What about you, Gareth? Hillary Clinton making this move from politics, and now she's going to be a novelist, writing or co-writing fiction. Do you think this is a good move for her?
I don't know. I actually think women are probably, too emotional to be writing books. That's what all the Americans said about her. It's crazy. But I disagree with Maisie. I'd like to see her, instead of pigeonholing herself to politics, I want to see her writing some Mills and Boon style trashy romance novels, creating
Gareth,
such...
be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for.
They do say that everyone's got a book in them somewhere, so let's test this theory out. What book would you write, and what would it be about?
I think if I were to write a book, it'd have to be a cookery book, but for people who are terrible cooks. And dishes that are okay, even if they go wrong. So, crispy cakes and casserole. That's basically it.
Crispy cakes and casserole. That's lovely. That's a great title. You've got it there.
Thank you. It would also be the title of my erotica novel as well.
There it is. Hillary Clinton is the correct answer. And 2 points go to Fred and Maisie. Right to you, Zoe and Gareth. It's your turn now. Who is this and why are they in the news?
We come from a house music background, and that's what Chicago house music was. Chicago house kind of was born after the collapse of disco, and it was this way of these young producers in their basement trying to make something that would look like a record.
This is Daft Punk, who have decided to stop being Daft Punk this week. I think they're amazing musicians, and it's very, very sad that they are.
It's sad, very influential.
No longer going to perform. And also, I never got to see them, so I'm really angry at the same time. I'm sad and angry, which is what a usual sort of state for a woman of my age. Sad and angry, hungry, and bizarrely horny. So that's how I feel about this. So yeah. And I think they did a brilliant thing, because they of course, they were anonymous with their helmets, which sounds ruder than it should have done.
Daft Punk have announced their retirement after 28 years together. The duo broke the news in a video while dressed in their iconic robot costumes. And if you're not completely familiar with Daft Punk, then just to explain it, Daft is the one on the left and Punk is the one on the right. Just for those that might not be au fait with their look and their
They're
music.
like the French Anton Deck.
They are exactly that. In the video that announces their split, they say goodbye in the desert, then one of them self-destructs. I can't be the only one that thinks that's how it's all going to end between Salmond and Sturgeon.
I don't know why they've bothered to split up, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, if any band could get away with, just not splitting up, it's them. Like, just give two other people the helmets.
Yeah.
Who's going to know?
Brilliant idea. Or they could both just become the Stig.
Exactly, yeah.
I love Daft Punk, but a bit like Gareth, I'm a bit confused as to the big announcement, because they haven't had an album out since 2013. So that's 8 years ago now, and I can't help but think, I mean, if none of us had cracked a joke in 8 years and then suddenly went, just to let you know, guys, I'm quitting comedy, I don't think... I don't think there'd be such a big fanfare. We'd all be like, yeah, we guessed. You haven't said anything funny for 8 years.
To be fair, Daisy, it's not stopped me.
Should bands know when it's right and time to call it a day?
Absolutely, Des. And, you know, history has shown that so many of the great bands that we've grown up with and listened to over the years, there's always a schism at some point and somebody goes. So when there's only two of you, obviously that's going to be the end of the band. I mean, I remember the tears that I shed when Robbie left Take That and Jerry left the Spice Girls, and none worse than Kerry Katona leaving Atomic Kitten. But by far and away the worst was, I still remember being so gutted when Michael Jackson started to split up.
Zoe, what about you on this one? Daft Punk splitting up. Do you think bands should know when the right time is to call it a day?
Absolutely, absolutely, because I, for one, I'm sick of looking at the Rolling Stones continuing to roll like moss-covered boulders when they quite clearly, I mean, unless they've had some horrific late-night online purchasing of stuff they don't need, they must be financially secure by now. So clearly they don't need the money. So it can't be enjoyable for them. It's not enjoyable for us. They have a wonderful catalogue. Time to put on the old slippers and call it a day, I think, for everybody involved.
That's it, Rolling Stones. You have been telped. Yes, in 30 years, Daft Punk have never taken their helmets off, which means they've been unable to enter a petrol station shop since 1991. There you go. Daft Punk is the right answer, and 2 points go to Zoe and Gareth. And it's time now for our final quickfire round, which is all about deciphering the numbers in the news. So I will read out a headline, and all the teams have to do is fill in the blanks. So get ready, teams. When we run out of time, you'll hear this.
Have you left the bathroom light on, love?
That is Hound for the Pound, Martin Lewis there. Always looking for a way to save some money. Right, here we go, teams. Let's do this. Less than 1 in 5 Glaswegians would be willing to do what?
Eat where the locals eat.
Less than 1 in 5 Glaswegians would be willing to do what?
Go to Edinburgh out of choice.
Less than 1 in 5 Glaswegians would be willing to do what?
Manage Celtic.
The actual answer is that less than 1 in 5 Glaswegians would be willing to go vegan.
Have you left the bathroom light on, love?
Oh, there we go. That is the klaxon. And Martin has Lewis. It's all over. And at the end of the quiz, our winners this week are Fred Macaulay and Maisie Adams.
Hey!
And commiserations to Zoe Lyons and Gareth Waugh. And we'll leave you with the breaking news. Breaking news just in. EasyJet pilots grounded by the pandemic have made homeschooling YouTube lessons for primary kids, explaining the science of flight. Parents became concerned when their children started asking for neck pillows and double gin and tonics. A Vincent van Gogh painting of a Paris street has gone on display for the first time after spending more than 100 years behind closed doors. There has always been great debate over the pronunciation of the Dutch artist's name, but after much research, we can exclusively confirm that the correct pronunciation is, in fact, Vincent. And Freemasons are offering all their lodges as mass COVID-19 vaccination centres. The Society are keen to speed up the UK's recovery, as it's no much fun being a Mason if you can't do the handshake. The news is broken. I've been Des Clark. Goodbye.